I'm a 32-year-old woman, and 8 months ago, I tied the knot after 4 years with my partner. My wedding was a beautiful moment, attended by nearly everyone I invited, except for my parents and my younger sister, Melina, who's 30. Their absence, especially my parents, was a shock, though my sister's decision not to show up wasn't entirely unexpected given our rocky history. To understand why this happened, I need to share some context about our family dynamics. I don't entirely fault my parents for always favouring Melina. From the moment she could walk, she's been exceptional at almost everything. She commanded attention wherever she went. In elementary school, she swept every spelling bee, science fair, and talent show. By high school, she was class president, valedictorian, and prom queen. Tall, slim, and strikingly attractive, she pursued modelling during college while earning a business degree. I still vividly recall her first modelling gig in her sophomore year. My parents threw an extravagant party, inviting all our relatives and her friends to celebrate. Her first professional headshot was framed and proudly displayed above the fireplace in our living room, where it still hangs today. That same year, I earned my computer science degree, but their response was a quiet good job before they shifted focus back to planning Melini's next photo shoot. Now, at 30, Melini is a senior executive at a prestigious company, complete with a corner office and a company car. Meanwhile, I'm a mid-level software developer at a solid tech firm. I'm content with my career, but it's not the kind of job that prompts parents to brag at family gatherings. I'm also shorter and heavier than Melina, and growing up, my mother often made harsh comments about my appearance, enrolling me in unwanted fitness classes and putting me on diets. She'd say things like, "Melina never has to worry about her weight," or "If you tried harder, you could look as good as your sister." Those remarks stung, even though I learned to brush them off by high school. Over time, I accepted that my parents would never celebrate my achievements the way they did Melina's. What choice did I have? I spent years chasing their approval, taking classes they suggested, joining clubs they pushed, even briefly trying modelling, which Melina still mocks me for failing at. But nothing I did was ever enough. I was always the second daughter, overshadowed by their adoration for Melina's success. In my mid-20s, I stopped trying to win them over. I focused on building my own life, advancing in my career, and surrounding myself with people who valued me for me. Honestly, things got better after that. Knowing my parents cared deeply about appearances, I kept our interactions surface level to avoid conflict. At mandatory Christmas dinners or rare family gatherings, I'd smile and nod as they gushed about Melina's latest promotion, boyfriend, or exotic vacation. They didn't seem to notice my emotional distance, too caught up in their pride for her. Then I met my husband at a tech conference through a mutual friend. He saw me, truly saw me, in a way my family never did. He appreciated my sarcastic humour, my coding skills, and even my body, without ever suggesting I change or comparing me to anyone else. After 4 years together, he proposed one evening at home with takeout and our favourite show playing in the background. It was perfect. When I shared the news of our engagement with my parents, their reaction was a red flag. There were no congratulations, just silence. My mother asked if I was sure about rushing into this and suggested I get in shape before the wedding. My father barely spoke. At our engagement party, my husband noticed their odd behaviour, which I was too nervous to fully process at the time. He overheard them on the phone with Melina, who was crying. They were muttering about how this wasn't supposed to happen and how they never expected Rebecca to marry first. Wedding planning had its challenges. My mother, who had already created countless Pinterest boards for Melina's hypothetical wedding, showed no interest in helping me pick a dress or venue. When I chose a simple yet elegant A-line gown that made me feel beautiful, she only commented that it was practical and flattering for my figure. My future mother-in-law stepped in, treating me like her own daughter and helping with most of the planning. I meticulously checked the guest list with my husband to ensure no one was missed. We sent both digital and physical invitations, and I'm certain my parents received theirs. Digital invites had red receipts, and the physical ones were confirmed delivered. When they didn't RSVP, I followed up with calls, texts, and emails. Their responses were vague, claiming they were too busy or needed to check their calendars. With the wedding approaching, I couldn't dwell on it. My in-laws were incredible, assisting with everything from seating charts to flowers. At the bridal shower my husband's sister hosted, no one mentioned my family's absence, though it was painfully obvious. The wedding day itself was magical, a morning ceremony followed by a relaxed garden reception. Everyone said we looked radiant and in love. But moments like seeing the empty front row seats or missing out on a father-daughter dance hurt deeply. After the honeymoon, I sought answers. When I finally got my parents on the phone, they claimed they were devastated because they never received a proper invitation. My mother went on a tirade about how careless I was, how she'd always dreamed of planning her daughter's weddings, and how she couldn't understand why I'd exclude them. I was confused. I'd confirmed the invitations were sent. I didn't call out their gaslighting, but simply apologized for the mix-up and ended the call. Later, my husband pointed out patterns I'd been too anxious to see. Their shock rather than joy at our engagement, their excuses for not helping with planning. He hadn't mentioned these earlier to spare me stress, but in hindsight, it was clear. They couldn't handle the idea that I, the less accomplished daughter, married before Milena, their golden child. It confirmed what I'd always suspected but avoided facing. In their eyes, I'd never measure up to her. The saddest part was realizing my wedding, a day meant to celebrate love, became another battleground in their quest to uphold their perfect family image, with Milena at its center. Recently, I learned through family that Milena got engaged to someone she's been dating for a year. My parents are thrilled, openly planning a lavish wedding in family group chats I'm not part of. They're boasting about booking high-end venues and designer gowns, with my mother taking Milena to exclusive fittings, moments I never got. Interestingly, many relatives are now declining to attend Milena's engagement party or wedding. Word of my parents' behavior at my wedding spread through the family. When relatives ask why my parents skipped my wedding, I tell them the truth. They couldn't accept that I married before Milena, their favorite. I stick to the facts, not seeking pity or drama. A few days ago, my parents contacted me, accusing me of sabotaging Milena's wedding. They claim relatives are refusing to attend her events because I'm spreading lies out of jealousy over her perfect wedding. My cousin, who Milena confided in, said people are hesitant because they've heard how my parents treated me. I'm not lying. I'm just sharing what happened. If the truth makes them look bad, maybe they should reflect on their actions instead of blaming me. As this unfolds, I'm finding it harder to maintain even a superficial relationship with them. Their absence at my wedding crystallized that I'll never be enough for them, no matter what I do. The hardest part isn't their absence, it's accepting that I'll never have the supportive parents I longed for. Right now, I'm focused on building a life with someone who truly values me. I'll keep you posted if anything significant happens. 2 weeks ago, I shared my story, and after reading your supportive comments, I decided to confront my parents about their absence at my wedding and their accusations that I'm ruining Milena's big day. They'd been texting me, claiming I was tarnishing their perfect family reputation, so I felt it was time to lay everything bare. On the call, they immediately accused me of being jealous of Milena and orchestrating a smear campaign. Instead of defending myself as usual, I did something new. I agreed, but not how they expected. "You're right," I said. "I am jealous, not of Milena's career, looks, or achievements. I'm jealous of the unconditional love and support you've always given her, which you never even tried to give me." There was a long pause. My mother insisted I was exaggerating, claiming they treated us equally. Something inside me snapped. Years of pent-up emotions poured out. I recounted every birthday overshadowed by Milena's latest triumph, like when my mother cancelled my high school graduation dinner for Milena's modelling callback. I mentioned how her prom dress cost more than my college textbooks for a year. Despite my father trying to interrupt, accusing me of blowing things out of proportion, I pressed on. I described the pain of watching them plan Milena's dream wedding for years while showing no interest in mine, and how my mother-in-law had to step in for everything from dress shopping to planning. Their response was telling. They turned it back on me. "If you felt this way, why didn't you say something sooner?" my mother demanded, as if I hadn't tried for years. My father called me unfair and vindictive for sharing these feelings with relatives. Then my mother said something that clarified everything. We always knew you were insecure about Milena's success, but we never thought you'd go so far as to ruin her wedding out of spite. This isn't how we raised you. It hit me. They couldn't hear me. They were more concerned about Milena's upcoming wedding than the pain they'd caused me. For the first time, I didn't try to fix things or apologize. Instead, I said, "You're right about one thing. You did raise me. You taught me I'd never measure up, that Milena's successes would always matter more, and that your perfect family image was more important than my feelings. But you also taught me I deserve better, even if you didn't mean to." After a long silence, my father said coldly, "If you've decided we're bad parents, maybe it's time we stop pretending otherwise. We thought you'd help fix this as family, but you've made your choice." My mother added, "We tried to treat you both equally, but maybe you just couldn't handle not being the center of attention. That's not our fault. You chose to play the victim." I didn't argue. There was no point. Their words only confirmed everything I'd said. I said goodbye and hung up. Surprisingly, I felt relief afterward. I cried, but not the desperate tears of my childhood. These were freeing. I'd finally said everything I needed to, without guilt or restraint. Later, my husband found me watching the sunset on our porch. He sat beside me, holding my hand in silence. After a while, I asked, "They're never going to change, are they?" He squeezed my hand and said, "No, but you have." And that's what matters. He's right. I'm not the kid desperately seeking their approval anymore. It hurts to accept that they'll never be the parents I wanted, but it's less painful than clinging to hope they'll change. I don't care about Milena's wedding drama or the family fallout anymore. I've said my piece, and they can deal with the consequences. The strangest part, I feel like a lifelong weight has been lifted. It's not the happy ending I wanted with my parents, but maybe it's the closure I needed to stop chasing love that should have come naturally. 3 days after my confrontation with my parents, things took an unexpected turn. Milena decided to insert herself into the drama, but her approach backfired spectacularly. Yesterday morning, she sent me a carefully worded text, dripping with the condescending tone she's perfected over the years. "Your comments to Mum and Dad were completely out of line," she wrote. "They've supported us our entire lives, given us everything. You can't just accuse them of being bad parents because you're insecure about your own choices." She went on, mixing self-righteousness with subtle digs. "I get that your wedding wasn't what you hoped, but that doesn't give you the right to sabotage mine. There's nothing wrong with wanting a celebration that reflects the hard work some of us put into meeting certain standards. Not everything has to be a competition, Rebecca." I didn't respond. Years of dealing with her manipulation taught me that engaging only gives her more ammunition. Instead, I blocked her number. Milena doesn't handle being ignored well, so I figured that'd be the end of it. But a few hours later, my husband called me at work, laughing so hard he could barely speak. Apparently unable to reach me, Milena tracked down his personal number, likely through a mutual contact, and sent him a series of texts explaining why our sisterly bond has always been strained. Her first message started politely. "As Rebecca's sister and someone who cares about our family's unity, I feel I need to reach out." But it quickly revealed her true intentions. She told my husband, a professional software architect with an MBA, that as the new man in my life, he had a duty to help me act more appropriately. Her messages grew patronizing, suggesting that someone with Rebecca's sensitivities might not grasp the bigger picture and urging him to help her see reason before I permanently damaged family ties. The real kicker was her attempt to appeal to what she assumed were his social climbing instincts. "Surely you understand that maintaining good relationships with successful family members like myself could benefit your future. Rebecca's actions are only hurting her prospects and yours." My husband, who's always seen through Milena's facade, found her manipulation attempt hilarious. He especially loved her assumption that her corporate status or networking promises would sway him. "She really doesn't know me at all, does she?" he said. That night, we read her text together, and instead of feeling hurt, I was laughing alongside him. Seeing Milena's tactics laid bare, especially directed at someone immune to them, was freeing. This incident revealed something profound about Milena. Despite her accolades, she's still the insecure teenager who needs to put others down to feel superior. Her belief that she could control me by manipulating my husband shows how little she understands healthy relationships. Her shift from texting me to targeting him when I didn't engage mirrors her high school tactics. When she couldn't bully me directly, she'd try to turn my friends against me. Same playbook, different decade. 10 years ago, her games would have sent me spiraling into self-doubt. 5 years ago, they would have hurt. Now? I'm just tired of the drama and find her blatant manipulation amusing. My husband's response was perfect. Instead of getting dragged into her chaos, he replied, Thanks for your concern about Rebecca's well-being. As her husband, my focus is supporting her happiness, not controlling her behavior. Please direct any future concerns to her directly. Have a great day." Milena, not getting the reaction she wanted, sent one final text. "I see she's turned you against the family too. Don't say I didn't try to help when this all blows up." Ironically, her help only strengthened my resolve to distance myself from my family's toxic dynamics. Her text to my husband proved nothing has changed. She's still the same manipulative person who needs to control the narrative and sees any deviation from her script as a threat. Instead of driving a wedge between us, Melane's actions brought my husband and me closer. We laughed about her texts, planned a weekend getaway, and moved on, unfazed by her threats of social consequences. I've realized that true family isn't about maintaining appearances or controlling narratives. It's about standing together, laughing together, and supporting each other against manipulation, even from a sibling. I'm more convinced than ever to steer clear of Milena's wedding drama. My husband and I are focused on building our own happiness, free from my family's endless power struggles. They say success is the best revenge, but I'm learning that true success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about embracing your choices and surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. By that measure, I've never felt more successful. 2 weeks after Milena's failed attempt to manipulate my husband, the situation has escalated in ways I didn't expect. My parents are scrambling to salvage their reputation, but it's backfiring. Through family connections, I learned they've been calling relatives individually, accusing me of spreading malicious lies out of jealousy over Milena's perfect wedding. Their latest claim is that I deliberately excluded them from my wedding to play the victim, insisting I sent their invitations to an outdated email and an old address, despite them living in the same house for 30 years and using the same email addresses forever. The good news, their damage control isn't working, relatives aren't buying it. Several have shared their own stories of my parents' favoritism. One aunt revealed my mother pulled similar stunts at past family weddings to ensure Milena was the star. The most satisfying development is how my extended family is responding. Key relatives, including some slated for major roles in Milena's wedding, are pulling out. The exclusive venue they secured through family connections may no longer be available, and a family friend's high-end dress shop suddenly has scheduling conflicts. Things boiled over at a family gathering last weekend. When someone innocently asked about my wedding photos, my mother lost it, launching into a defensive rant about how I've changed since getting married and am trying to destroy the family out of jealousy. Her outburst shocked relatives who were unaware of the full story and further damaged her carefully curated image. Ironically, my parents' desperate attempts to preserve their perfect family facade are why it's unraveling. Every time they try to paint me as the villain, they reveal more about themselves. The more they justify their absence from my wedding, the more people see their manipulation. Family members who once stayed neutral are now taking sides. Even my father's brother, who always kept quiet to avoid conflict, apologized for not speaking up sooner about their treatment of me. He and his family have decided not to attend Milena's wedding events. I haven't had to respond directly to any of this. The truth is doing the work for me. Every time my parents or Milena try to spin the narrative, they expose more of their toxic behavior. My husband put it best. They spent years building a perfect family image, but it was built on favoritism and emotional manipulation. It was bound to collapse. Personally, I'm doing better than ever. I'm free from the pressure of chasing my parents' approval or managing Milena's ego. For the first time, I'm not worried about upholding their idealized family image. Letting the truth speak for itself feels like the best kind of justice. Not vengeance, but clarity. I'm grateful for the online support that gave me the strength to stand up for myself. Sometimes, the encouragement of strangers shows you what real family support looks like.